What's going on, guys? It's Groove, back with another book review, and today we have The Philosophy of Bitcoin. If there's one Bitcoin book you have to read, it's definitely going to be this bottom guide, the Bitcoin Standard. After you get a good grasp on, the history of money, why going to a Bitcoin Standard would be better for society, this is definitely a great pickup, and it kind of, attacks Bitcoin from another angle. It goes over the history of money, it skims over that, and then it goes into understanding the Federal Reserve, what they do to manipulate money, and how they're literally robbing you of your freedom and your time, which is your life. When we all go to work, we are trading our time for money, and every year that money is slowly decreasing in value every year. This is why the price of your house continues to go up, or the price of vehicles continue to go up, or the price of groceries continue to grow up. It's not because the house has gotten better, or your car's gotten better, or the groceries have gotten better. It's just your dollars have gotten worse. So now you need more dollars to get the same items. That's literally killing people. And now, because we have to go back to work, we got to work more, longer hours to get the same things again. This just goes over, again, the philosophy behind why going to a Bitcoin Standard would literally change society. It would literally change the way we think, change the way we act with each other, change your mindset when it comes to having kids and starting a family and pursuing your dreams and goals and actually focusing on your purpose, instead of just continuously thinking about the dollar and I gotta get more, I gotta get more, I gotta get more. It's kind of crazy when you think about, that's kind of the system we live under, and it's not right. We shouldn't, just be thinking about if you want to do something with your life, but then you're like, I'm going to go get this job because it pays more. It shouldn't have to be like that. And they kind of go over about why Bitcoin would change that and how it would fix that, going to a Bitcoin Standard and living under a fixed money supply that somebody just can't manipulate whenever they want to. Another section of this book, it also goes over the Federal Reserve and the government. So they control the money, and they can print it as much up as they want to, and they can do what they want with it. Right now, it's May 2024, and another bill was just passed, and they just sent up another $95 billion and sent it overseas again. We're gonna have to pay for that, Well, we may not pay for it tomorrow or the next day, but a year or two or three down the line, that's gonna have to come off of the civilians' backs. We're going to have to pay through that with taxes and inflation. We have to pay for that. The whole debate about, canceling people's student loan debt. And I was pretty much against that. The whole time I'm just all like, well, if you're going to go to school and take out student loans to get a photography degree or an underwater basket weaving degree, I'm like, we're going to have to pay for that. No, you should have to pay your student loans back. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to pay for that with inflation and taxes later on. But if they're just going to print up money and send it overseas whenever they want to, I would rather them print that money up and pay off student loans. And so the Americans can actually benefit from that, rather than other people that we're going to have to pay for that anyway, and we get no benefit from that. So, but yeah, that's the system we live under when, our money is controlled and they can do with it what they want. And governments wouldn't be able to do that if we went under a Bitcoin Standard. Back when, countries were under a standard, like a gold standard or a silver standard, if the king wanted to go to war, he had a war chest and he had to fight wars efficiently, and, which kind of stops wars, or, makes people fight wars more defensively. So now we're not the attackers, we're kind of just the defenders, because we have a certain war chest, with our gold or our silver, and once that's depleted, we have no more money for war. Or you have to tax the civilians. And now the civilians are arguing, why are we at war again? Why are we going to fight? But under this current system that we live under, the fiat system, money can just be printed up whenever they want. Governments can literally have endless wars. They can just fight them as long as they want to. That's not good for humanity. That's not good for society. And that's not good for the civilians, because, again, we have to pay for that through taxes and inflation. But we have no say in that. And again, we don't feel it right away, but we're going to feel it eventually, because we have to pay for that. That money is going to come from our checks, from our work, from our time, and we're going to have to pay for that. And so it just kind of attacks Bitcoin, and understanding why going to Bitcoin would be better, and getting off this fiat standard would be better for society and civilization as a whole. It doesn't really go into Bitcoin, the technicalities, but just what it would be like going to a Bitcoin Standard with a fixed money supply, how that would change humans and how we interact with each other, how that would change governments, how that would change war. It would get us back to a better society, and we would do things that would be more productive and try to create value in the world, instead of creating war and death and everybody on an individualistic I got to get mine before you get yours type of mentality, which we're all operating under right now. Like everybody's just kind of like, I just got to get as much dollars as I can and forget you. And getting off this fiat system would literally change society. Another big portion of this book that it talks about, which I thought was really interesting, it really went deep into property rights and how we don't really think about it too much, but we've never owned anything. Like no human on earth has ever owned anything that is theirs and cannot be taken from them. And going to a Bitcoin standard, Bitcoin is yours. And it cannot be taken from you. It cannot be stolen from you. It can't be stopped. Like right now has been the first time in history when we've ever been able to say that, like, I own this, or if you buy some, you can own it. Well, if you self-custody it and put into your own wallet and not leave it on an exchange. But again, this is the first time in history when you can sit here and say, this is mine and nobody can take it from me. And people don't really think about that. But if you look throughout history, if somebody had some land, another country could come take it. If you had gold, another country can come take it. If you had a farm, somebody could come take it. If you had cattle, somebody could come take it. If you had a wife, somebody could take your wife. Somebody could strip you naked. And now you're like, oh, well, you've taken everything now. Like, what else is there left to take? Even your body. It even talks about that. Your body, somebody could sit there and be like, well, we've taken everything from you. You know what? You come with us too. You know what I'm saying? We'll tell you when to eat, when to sleep, when to work. And so you don't even own your body at the end of the day. Somebody can tell you, they can put you into slavery. And we don't really think about that. We've never owned anything. Like even today, if somebody's like, oh, I own my house. And it's just like, well, first of all, it's not paid off. So the paperwork is sitting, in a desk somewhere downtown. And then when you do pay it off, you still have to pay property taxes on the house. So do you really own it then? And then don't get into trouble with the law or the state, because then they'll just come take your house. So is it really yours if at the end of the day, after you've paid it off and you're still paying property taxes, they can come take it whenever they want to? Then nobody really thinks about that. But this is the first thing in history that we can own that cannot be confiscated, cannot be taken from us, cannot be stopped. And nobody really thinks about that. And that's about it for this one. I really enjoyed this book. It was definitely a great read. Definitely came at Bitcoin from a different perspective, instead of just the technical, like what is it? It's money and it goes up or it goes down, or can you pay things with it, or like is it an asset? Is it a commodity or a security? Is it like any other cryptocurrency? But just coming at it from the philosophical standpoint on what it does to civilization and humanity if we got off of a fiat system and went to a Bitcoin system with a fixed money supply. I really enjoyed that about this. So yeah, that's about it for this one. And like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.